You walk into a toy store with your child. The shelves are packed. Bright colors, flashing lights, toys that talk, toys that move, toys that promise to teach your child everything from numbers to emotions. You want to give your child the best, so you buy another toy, and another, and another. But here's what nobody tells you. Those toys might actually be holding your child back. What if I told you that the reason so many children today struggle with creativity, focus, and problem solving isn't because they don't have enough, but because they have too much? Too many toys, too many options, too much entertainment handed to them on a silver platter. And in the process, they're losing something critical, something that children decades ago had in abundance: the ability to create their own world from nothing. I'm a child psychologist, and I've spent years studying early childhood development. And I need to tell you something that might feel uncomfortable at first. The best thing you can give your child under age 5 is not found in a toy aisle. It's not plastic. It's not battery-powered. It's not marketed as educational. In fact, it costs almost nothing, but it builds everything. Before you think I'm about to shame you for loving your child or wanting to give them nice things, let me be clear. You are not a bad parent for buying toys. You're a loving parent. You're doing what you think is best. But love alone doesn't build strong brains. Experiences do. And the experiences that matter most during these critical early years are not the ones that come in a box with instructions. Between birth and age 5, your child's brain is forming over 1 million neural connections every single second. 1 million. That's not an exaggeration. That's neuroscience. And those connections are built through play. But not just any play. The brain grows strongest through unstructured, imaginative, self-directed play. The kind of play where the child leads, where there are no rules, no right answers, no buttons to press. The kind of play that modern toys are designed to eliminate. Here's the truth. Most toys today tell your child exactly what to do. Press this button. Hear this sound. Stack these rings in this order. Follow these steps. But the developing brain doesn't need instructions. It needs freedom. It needs to explore, to fail, to try again, to figure things out without someone or something telling them how. That's where real learning happens. That's where creativity, resilience, and confidence are born. Think back for a moment. What did children play with 50, 70, 100 years ago? Sticks became swords. Stones became currency. Mud became buildings. Empty boxes became castles. They didn't wait to be entertained. They created their own entertainment. And they didn't just survive. They thrived. They became the inventors, the leaders, the problem solvers of their generation. Not because they had more, because they had less. And that less forced them to use the most powerful tool they possessed, their imagination. Now, before we go any further, I need you to do something. If this is resonating with you, if you're starting to realize that maybe, just maybe, your child doesn't need another toy, but something deeper, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint, because this channel is built for parents like you who want evidence-based, real strategies that actually work. And here's something special. We also have a membership program with 2 exclusive levels that give you early access to videos, bonus content, and deeper dives into topics like this one. If you're serious about intentional parenting, that membership is for you. Drop a comment and tell me, what did you play with as a child? Let's dive deeper. Let's talk about what's actually happening in your child's brain during these early years, and why too many toys can actually interfere with healthy development. Because once you understand the science, everything I'm about to tell you will make perfect sense. From birth to age 5, your child's brain is in the most rapid period of growth it will ever experience. Neural pathways are forming at an astonishing rate, and these pathways determine how your child will think, learn, solve problems, and relate to others for the rest of their life. But here's the critical part. These pathways are shaped by experience, not by passive consumption. The brain needs to be active, not entertained. It needs to create, not just receive. When a child plays with an open-ended object, let's say a cardboard box, their brain has to work. What is this? What can I do with it? Can I climb in it? Can I push it? Can I turn it into a car, a house, a spaceship? The brain is problem-solving, imagining, experimenting. Neural connections are firing and strengthening. This is real learning. This is how intelligence develops. Now compare that to a toy that lights up and plays a song when you press a button. What is the child's brain doing? It's responding to a stimulus. Press button, get reward. Press again, same reward. There's no problem to solve, no imagination required, no creativity needed. The toy is doing all the work and the child's brain is passive. And a passive brain is not a growing brain. Research in developmental psychology consistently shows that children who engage in more unstructured, imaginative play have stronger executive function skills. That means better focus, better self-control, better ability to plan and organize, better emotional regulation. These are the skills that predict success in school and in life. And they're not built by toys with instructions, they're built by freedom. But there's another problem with too many toys, and it's one most parents don't realize: choice overload. When a child has too many options, they can't focus. They pull out one toy, play for 30 seconds, move to the next, then the next, then the next. They're overstimulated and underengaged. And parents misinterpret this. They think, my child gets bored easily. I need to buy more toys to keep them interested. But the opposite is true. The child can't engage deeply because there's too much competing for their attention. Less is actually more. Studies have shown that when you reduce the number of toys available to a child, something remarkable happens. Their play becomes longer, more focused, more creative, and more complex. With fewer options, the child is forced to engage more deeply with what they have. They invent new ways to use the same objects. They create elaborate scenarios. They build, they imagine, they problem solve. This is the kind of play that builds brains. So if toys aren't the answer, what is? What should you be giving your child instead during these critical years? Let me break it down into 5 essential gifts that cost almost nothing but build everything. First, give space. Not a Pinterest-perfect playroom, not an organized toy bin system, just safe, flexible space where your child can move, explore, and spread out. A corner of the living room, a mat on the floor, a patch of backyard. Space tells your child's brain you are free to explore. You are safe to try. And that sense of freedom is where confidence begins. Second, give time. Uninterrupted, unscheduled time where your child is not being directed, instructed, or entertained. Time where boredom is allowed. I know that word makes parents uncomfortable. We've been taught that boredom is bad, that we need to fill every moment with activity. But boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the birthplace of creativity. When your child says, "I'm bored," their brain is about to do something amazing. It's about to invent something. Don't rescue them from that moment. That moment is gold. Third, give loose materials. These are everyday objects that have no fixed purpose. Cardboard boxes, fabric scraps, wooden spoons, plastic containers, paper, crayons, old clothes for dress-up, sticks, stones, water, sand. These materials don't tell the child what to do. They invite exploration. A stick can be a wand, a sword, a fishing rod, a bridge. The child decides. And in that decision, the brain is working, creating, learning. Fourth, give trust. This one is harder than it sounds because it requires you to resist the urge to intervene. Let your child struggle a little. Let them figure things out. Let them fail safely and try again. Every time you don't rush in to fix, solve, or rescue, you're sending a powerful message to their brain: I believe you can handle this. And that belief becomes the foundation of self-confidence. Children who are trusted to work through challenges become adults who don't crumble when things get hard. They persist. They adapt. They trust themselves. And fifth, give your presence, not your performance. You don't need to be the entertainer, the teacher, the activity coordinator. Your child doesn't need you to be constantly engaging them. What they need is your calm, attentive presence. Sit nearby while they play. Watch without directing. Respond when they invite you in, but don't take over. Your presence regulates their nervous system. It provides emotional safety, and in that safety, they feel free to explore, to take risks, to be themselves. This is how secure attachment is built, and secure attachment is the single strongest predictor of lifelong emotional health. Now let's talk about what this kind of childhood actually builds. Because this isn't just about play. This is about the kind of adult your child will become. Children who grow up with space, time, loose materials, trust, and presence develop skills that no toy can teach. They learn to think independently. They don't wait for someone to tell them what to do. They assess situations, come up with solutions, and take action. They become leaders, not followers. They develop creativity, not just artistic creativity, but problem-solving creativity. The ability to look at a challenge and think, what if I tried this? What if I approached it differently? This is the skill that drives innovation in every field. They build resilience. Because they've experienced safe failure. They've tried something. It didn't work. They tried again. They know that failure isn't the end. It's information. It's part of the process. And that knowledge makes them unstoppable. They regulate their emotions because they've learned to entertain themselves, to work through boredom, to manage frustration without constant external input. They don't need someone else to make them feel okay. They have internal resources, and they develop confidence, real confidence. Not the kind that comes from being praised for everything, the kind that comes from genuinely accomplishing something hard, from building something, creating something, figuring something out on their own. That confidence is unshakable because it's earned. These are the adults who thrive, who adapt to change, who solve problems others can't see, who lead with integrity, who contribute rather than just consume. And it all starts in early childhood with the freedom to play without limits, without instructions, without someone telling them how. But I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds great in theory, but my child needs structure. They need guidance. If I just leave them alone with random objects, they'll just make a mess or get frustrated. And I hear you. But here's what I want you to understand. Structure and freedom are not opposites. Your child needs both. The structure comes from routines, from boundaries, from your calm, consistent presence. But within that structure, there must be freedom. Freedom to explore, to choose, to lead their own play. And yes, they will make messes. Yes, there will be moments of frustration. But those moments are not problems to be solved. They're opportunities for growth. When your child gets frustrated trying to build something and it keeps falling down, that's not a crisis. That's their brain learning persistence. That's the prefrontal cortex developing. That's executive function in action. Don't rob them of that by jumping in too quickly. Here's a practical example. Instead of buying a new expensive toy, try this. Give your child a large cardboard box, some markers, and some tape. Then step back. Don't suggest what they should make. Don't show them how to do it right. Just watch. You might be amazed at what happens. They might turn it into a house, a car, a rocket ship, a cave. They might decorate it, cut windows, add doors. They might play in it for hours, days even. And in that process, they're learning spatial reasoning, fine motor skills, planning, creativity, and problem solving, all from a box that cost you nothing. Now let's address something important. Some of you might be feeling a twinge of guilt right now. Maybe your home is filled with toys. Maybe you've spent hundreds or thousands on the latest educational products. Maybe you're thinking, have I been doing this wrong? And I want to stop you right there. No, you have not been doing it wrong. You've been doing what you thought was best with the information you had. And that's all any parent can do. This isn't about guilt. This is about awareness. And now that you're aware, you can make different choices moving forward. You don't have to throw out every toy in your house, but you can start being more intentional. You can start rotating toys so fewer are available at once. You can start saying no to the impulse purchases. You can start creating more space for unstructured play. Small shifts create big changes over time. Let me share what happens when parents actually implement this approach. I've worked with countless families who've reduced toys and increased free play, and the transformation is remarkable. Parents report that their children play more deeply for longer periods. The whining for entertainment decreases. The "I'm bored" complaints initially increase, then disappear as the child learns to generate their own ideas. Sibling conflict often decreases because children become more engaged in their own play rather than fighting over toys. And most importantly, parents notice their children becoming more confident, more independent, more creative. One mother I worked with had a playroom overflowing with toys. Her 3-year-old would dump everything out, play for 2 minutes with each item, then melt down, saying nothing was fun. We did an experiment. We removed 90% of the toys and left just a few simple items: blocks, some scarves, a basket of pine cones and stones from outside, paper and crayons. The mother was nervous. She thought her daughter would be upset. But the opposite happened. The little girl spent an hour that first day building an elaborate fort with the scarves. She created a restaurant with the pine cones as food. She drew pictures and made up stories. The mother cried telling me about it. She said, "I've been drowning her in stuff, and all she needed was space to be herself." That's the power of less, and it's available to every parent, regardless of income, regardless of living situation, regardless of how many toys you currently own. You can start today. Here's another practical shift you can make. Instead of buying toys for birthdays and holidays, consider giving experiences or consumable gifts, art supplies that get used up and need replacing, tickets to a children's museum or a nature center, a membership to the local library, a basket of dress-up clothes from a thrift store. These gifts provide richness without clutter, experiences without overstimulation. And when well-meaning relatives ask what to buy your child, you can gently redirect them. We're trying to simplify, so we'd love contributions toward their savings account, or maybe some books, or outdoor play items like balls or bubbles. Most people want to honor your parenting choices once they understand them. Let's also talk about screen time for a moment because it's related. Screens are not toys, but they function the same way in the brain. They entertain, they provide passive stimulation, and they short-circuit the exact neural pathways we want to be developing during these years. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends minimal to no screen time for children under 2 and very limited, high-quality content for children 2 to 5. And there's a reason for that. Screens don't build brains. They occupy them. Every minute your child spends staring at a screen is a minute. They're not moving their body, manipulating objects, engaging with the real world, practicing social skills, or using their imagination. I'm not saying screens are evil or that you're harming your child if they watch some television. But I am saying that screens should be the exception, not the default. And just like with toys, less is more. What children need most during these years is simple. They need your presence. They need freedom to play. They need time to be bored. They need trust that they can figure things out. And they need a few open-ended materials that invite creativity rather than dictate it. That's the formula. It's not complicated. It's not expensive. But it requires something harder than money. It requires intentionality. It requires you to resist the cultural pressure to buy more, do more, provide more. It requires you to trust that less is actually enough. So let's bring this all together with a clear message that I hope will change how you think about early childhood. The greatest gift you can give your child under 5 is not something they can hold in their hands. It's something they become, and they become it through freedom. Freedom through trust, through space to grow into themselves without constant interference or entertainment. You are not raising a child. You're raising a future adult. And the question you need to ask yourself every day is not, what toy should I buy? But what kind of human am I shaping? Because the choices you make now in these critical early years set the foundation for everything that comes after. Do you want to raise an adult who waits to be told what to do, or one who takes initiative? Do you want to raise someone who needs constant entertainment, or someone who can generate their own ideas? Do you want to raise a person who crumbles under challenge, or one who persists? Do you want to raise a consumer or a creator? Your answer to those questions should guide every decision you make about play, toys, and how you structure your child's early years. Here's what I want you to remember. Toys entertain for minutes. Freedom builds for a lifetime. A child who learns to play with nothing becomes an adult who can create something from anything. A child who learns to tolerate boredom becomes an adult with a rich inner life. A child who struggles and succeeds without constant help becomes an adult who trusts themselves deeply. These are not small things. These are the building blocks of a meaningful, resilient, capable life. And the beautiful part? You already have everything you need to give your child this gift. You don't need more money. You don't need a bigger house. You don't need the perfect setup. You just need the courage to step back, to trust, to let your child lead, to embrace the mess, the boredom, the struggle. Because on the other side of all of that is a child who knows who they are and what they're capable of. I know this goes against everything our culture tells us. We're bombarded with messages that more is better, that our children need the latest products to succeed, that good parenting means providing everything. But those messages are not based on science. They're based on marketing. And you are smarter than that. You know deep down that the best things in life are not things at all. So starting today, I want you to make one small change. Just one. Maybe it's rotating your toys so only a few are out at a time. Maybe it's committing to 1 hour a day of unstructured, screen-free play. Maybe it's gathering some loose materials and creating a simple play space. Maybe it's just sitting quietly nearby while your child plays, resisting the urge to direct or entertain. Pick one thing and commit to it for a week. Watch what happens. I promise you'll see a difference. And here's my final word to you. You are enough. Your presence is enough. Your attention is enough. Your child does not need you to be perfect or to provide endless entertainment. They need you to see them, to trust them, and to give them the freedom to become who they're meant to be. That's the work. That's the gift. If this message resonated with you, I need you to do something. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint and share this video with another parent who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below and tell me, what did you play with as a child? What memories do you have of making something from nothing? Let's start a conversation because this message matters. The future doesn't start in toy stores. It starts on the floor with a child's imagination and a parent who trusts them to use it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring enough about your child's development to question the cultural norms. Thank you for being the kind of parent who chooses intentionality over convenience. You're doing something powerful. Keep going.